Hi guys! I wanted to give you guys a little makeup tutorial for my everyday makeup look. Don't mind the insane pile of clothes on my couch over here. I need to do some laundry. So right now I just primed my face with my e.l.f. Jelly Pop primer, and I also mixed it with this NYX Beam Cream. I feel that the moisturizer gets your makeup to stick on so much better and it makes it look so much smoother. I'm gonna use this NARS Light Reflecting Foundation, and I use a brush to blend this out. Notice how I'm dabbing and I'm not dragging the makeup. Dragging the makeup will create some streaks in your makeup and you don't want that. The shade that I use is Veloris for the NARS foundation. I do put that on my eyes as well, my eyelids. After this, I immediately am going to start on my eyes. I get my eyes done and over with first thing. That way anything that comes off of my eyes, like the powder, the eyeliner, I can fix that all later. I'm going to start with my eyebrows. I use an angled brush that looks like this, and I'm going to go in with the Morphe, a small palette that I have right here. It's called the Artistry palette, and I use Now Boarding, that shade. It is slightly lighter than my hair because I have mixes of colors in my hair. I have this really dark brown, that's my natural hair color, and I have highlights in my hair as well. Do one solid line and I drag it over. Solid line, drag it over. Boom. After I do this, I'm going to take some sort of spoolie and just blend that out as much as I possibly can so that it doesn't look streaky. Just use this spoolie, and it's from a combo eye pencil, but I just don't like the color in this one because it's too dark. After this, I like to kind of carve around my eyebrows then with a concealer so that I give myself that base for my eyeshadow, but I also give myself a nice carved out eyebrow. Tarte Creaseless Concealer. I know a lot of people like the Shape Tape, but I've tried the Shape Tape before and I honestly wasn't the biggest fan. I thought that it didn't sit well on the skin, so this one I feel does a really nice job. Perfect texture between sticky and creamy. To carve this out, I am going to use a brush that looks like this. It's a little bit more pointed towards the top, and really I just carve under that eyebrow and I am going to shape it. So exactly what the shape of my eyebrow is. If I want it to be a little bit thinner, then I'll go a little bit more up into the eyebrow, which I normally do because I love me a thin eyebrow. Once I do that under eyebrow portion, I'm also going to do above the eyebrow. Carve it from the top too. Once again, I'm just tracing that eyebrow. Yeah, look how much sharper that looks compared to that. Once those are carved out, I need to go in with a beauty blender and just blend around the top edges so that there isn't like these sharp lines of concealer versus foundation on my forehead. And I do that towards my nose where the concealer is at too. I also am going to cover that spot that I just did with concealer with powder. I also use the Morphe powder, just the normal setting powder. I'm going to set this, and this is just so that it stays on longer. I know a lot of people don't prefer to do this, but I prefer to do it if I want it to stay on all day. And I work tonight from 3 to 8, so I'm definitely wanting it to stay on longer. And now my eyes are primed. When I do my outer corner for my eyeshadow, I typically like to use the exact same color that I used for my eyebrows. I'm using that Now Boarding color. Just gonna do that all on the outer corner like this. I'm gonna bring it in just slightly. I'm honestly not the best at eyeshadow. I feel like I've got the rest of my face locked down, but the eyeshadow, I've just kind of fling it on there. I've always done that. I just put it on there and it tends to work for me. So not very good at like the blending techniques and doing all these crazy makeup eyeshadow looks, but I like a simple light smoky eye anyway. So now that we're done with that outer color, I'm gonna go into this random Revolution palette I have. So it's the Patricia Bright palette from Revolution. I use this, you can tell which one I use. It's this light shade, not all the way white, but it's like a very light skin tone, mainly because that is kind of like white for me since I have darker complexion. I'm gonna bring that all the way over here and all the way to the inner corner. Sometimes I do choose to use a shimmer, but if I want a really all together look, I like to use the matte. I feel like it brings it together so much better. Yeah, I'm going to blend that out just a tad bit in the sides with my outer corner. Now it's time for my nose contour. I like to get my nose contour completely done before I start doing my concealer so that I can put my concealer up onto it. For this, I'm going to use just a small brush like this, and I'm going to use, this is the Milk Baked bronzer. I've had this literally since junior high, which is over 10 years. I feel that this does a really good job of blending. It's so creamy. So I just did like a little bit here. I did a half line here and 2 lines with the nose. Take that same eyeshadow brush because it has that brown color on it still. And I just blend that out just a tad bit in the direction of the lines that I already made. I do dab it a little bit with a beauty blender. I need to make my wings. For my wings, I like to do as much straight out as I possibly can. It's really hard for me to do on camera, so please bear with me. Okay, basically just like that. I mess up here and there. It's fine, I just move on because I feel like a lot of the other steps that you take can tend to cover up a little bit of your mistakes. I'm just gonna leave it at that, honestly. It's not perfect. Like, if you look at it, not perfect. It's fine though. Now we can move on. Go ahead and use setting spray for my face. Next, I'm going to start on my concealer. That same creaseless concealer from Tarte. I put a lot in this corner here, some right under the eyeliner. I put some under my nose because I get some redness down there, and some on my chin because I also get redness right there. Those are like my hot spots for redness. Use this end of this brush that I have from Eco Tools. I'm gonna blend this concealer out all on my nose, up the nose, around my bronzer, under my eyeliner, making sure that I don't actually hit that eyeliner and mess it up. I'm done here. If this needs any additional blending, which sometimes it does, I'm just gonna dab this very lightly. I don't want to mess up anything that I've done. I don't want to remove any of the makeup, and I feel like beauty blenders do sometimes do that, so you have to make sure to not hit that skin or blend in the wrong places. And then we have this gorgeous, look how amazing that skin looks. Go back in, Morphe setting powder, and really make sure that we get this set. Seriously set this spot right here on the nose. I want that to be the most prominent. So this one I actually leave on for a little bit longer. Go right under the eye. This out. Okay. Then after I'm done with these 2 very important parts, put some down here because we don't want a shiny chin, and put some under my nose. So like some in between the eyebrows and a little bit over the eyebrows. Step is not like super important. I just like it because I feel like it brings some of that normalness back to my nose since I have this big bronze nose. I'm gonna take the same brush that I use for concealer that has a little bit of concealer left on it, add that on the tip of my nose, bring some of my normal color back to my nose right here. So then we have a little bit more of a normal natural nose. I'm gonna use this Milk bronzer again, a big bronzing brush like this, and I dab the brush onto the product. I never apply a bronzing product or a blush product directly to my face. I know there's ones that you can. I don't do it. I don't think that it works as well. In a second. Okay. See, look how shiny, glowing all around. Put some here on my forehead. I just am evening the color out at this point. Okay, got that, and we are almost done, guys. Blush, it has been through some stuff. Okay, it is, I don't even know how you're supposed to clean this, so I can't. I just have to hope for the best. Dab some of this on here. This is the Grease X Revolution Rizzo blush, and I got this a few years ago just because I really like Grease. And I was like, you know what? This is actually really nice because it's this really glowy. Yeah, gorgeous. Do that to both sides. I put it just a little bit above the bronzer, right under my eyeliner. A little spot. Too much blush, I feel like, takes away from the look. Now it's all very seamless together. Now it is time for my eyelashes. Start with taking my eyelashes apart because I wash my face every night, but a lot of the time it does not get the eyelash glue that I used the day before completely off. I use one of these tools just to separate the lashes. Rare Beauty mascara. I don't know what it is. I have 2 of the full length mascaras, but I feel like this one works better. Put that on here very lightly because I'm gonna put on the ends here individual lashes. So just a little bit right there. At this point, I can brush off the set. I just really like to set this area so I have a more prominent No. If you look at this, you can see a lot of hair on there. That's because I just cut the lashes all the time. I cut them down to whatever length I want them because they're always too long for me. Once I start to get lower on here, it starts with a 10, it goes all the way to an 18. Is this type of tweezer, Falscara, yeah, the Falscara Bond and Seal. Just gonna take that and dab it only on the line of my eyelashes. I don't want to put it all over my lashes. I made that mistake too many times and that got glue all over my lashes. It looked horrible. I'm gonna start with the very end. Take one, throw it on there. Like I said, having eyeliner, this combo really covers any mistakes up. So if you make a mistake here, if you make a mistake on the eyeliner, it really can cover it up for you. Pinch those together. Have that nice, see how much nicer that looks just with the flow. Place it right on the end. One more a little bit closer to my eye just for a more natural blend in there. After this point, you do want to put that seal on there just to make sure it stays on there. And now I'm going to go ahead and go with my tool and separate again and reapply that mascara on there. Once again, if it looks a little crazy, sometimes it does, it's okay. For my last step, I'm gonna remove my lip plump. I'm gonna do a lip combo. Really just do any brown lip pencil. This one needs sharpening. This is like at its last. I'm gonna have to get a new one. And then you're gonna do your lipstick of choice. Of course, I love a Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Classic. I love the texture, I love the color. Look how beautiful. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and do my hair, and I'm gonna put some gloss on as well after I'm done with my hair so that you guys can see the final makeup look. Also, don't forget to completely set everything. Hair is done, and this is the final makeup look. Let's add some gloss. We need some gloss.